most venerable monks, dear meritorious upasaks and upasikas. Today we have two danas, that is one is Kushan Dana in memory of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, whose 121st birth anniversary was celebrated yesterday, and the other one is Abhishek Dana. So coming to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar 121st birth anniversary, it is the quality of the gentleman to express their gratitude and gratefulness for the contribution that he has done to this suffering humanity by reviving Buddhism, the Dhamma in this land of Buddha, which was lost then. And the prediction of the Burmese monks and the tradition there in the Burma, that after 2500 years, the Dhamma will re-arise in the land of Buddha. That prediction came true when Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, along with 5 lakh of his followers, took refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha on 14th October 1956. As you know, he was born in a downtrodden society. He had to face a lot of humiliation, he had to struggle a lot. And the one reason for which he had to struggle was this caste system. Nothing else. It was not that he was not an able person, not a capable person, not an educated person, having all the qualifications, yet he had to face carping humiliations on every occasion. And what was the reason? That is caste system. Because as you know, according to the scriptures here in India, the Brahmin is born under the mouth of a Brahma, a Kshatriya from the arms of the Brahma, a Vaishya from his belly, and the Shudra from the foot. But I don't know whether it is fortunate or unfortunate, the so-called outcasts or the downtrodden were not born from any part of the Brahma. They have an independent existence. So in one way we can say they are very fortunate from the logical angle, but from the spiritual angle, yes, they may be called unfortunate people. So this casteism has been a disease of the mind which has been ruining this nation. The cause for the downfall of the nation, if you see the history, is nothing but this caste system which divided the Indian society, and because of which the foreign rulers got an opportunity to come and rule over this country, India. Therefore, Buddha has rightly said in Parabhava Sutta, that is the causes for the downfall. There he says, Jati Tato Dhanat Tato Gotat Tato Jayo Naro Sanyati Mati Maniti Tam Parabhavato Mukam. Jati Tato, one is very much adamant and very proud and very arrogant about his jati, about his birth, about his caste. Jati Tato. And there are other people, Dhanat Tato. Some people are very proud because we are very rich. We have a lot of wealth. So Jati Tato, Dhanat Tato. Gotat Tato Chayonaro. And there are other people who they belong to the same caste, yet he is proud that he belongs to particular Gotra. I belong to this Gotra. So this Gotra kind of arrogance is there. Sarnayati Mati Maneti. And there are people who despise their own relatives, forget about the other caste and all, because of this or any other reason, because of Gotra or because of the wealth, because of the power. For some or other reason, people try to despise others. They look down upon others. And what happens when someone develops this kind of attitude? The Buddha says, Tam para bhavato mukam. That is the downfall of that person. And we can see in the history that wherever you go, the downfall of a person or a society is this arrogance, this ego. And therefore the stress of Buddha to become egoless. The Anatta philosophy is found only in Buddha teaching. Why? Because Buddha says it is this very I that creates all other kinds of negativities. When there is I, then there is mine, then there is mine, then I am greater, I am this, I am that. And the whole process of ego starts, and with ego you start looking down upon others. So this caste system has been really a kind of disease which has ruined the whole of India nation. And now it is not only confined to nation, it is spreading like virus to the other parts of the world. So in order to remove this what we call caste system, what remains important is what is the root cause of this caste system. The root cause is nothing but, to put it in simple words, it is ego. People want some or other reason to feel proud that they are great and others are low. It's a kind of mental corruption. Nowadays we are fighting with corruption in India. Everyone is corrupt, we are talking. This is only a financial corruption. And that is corruption which starts quite later. But casteism is a corruption which starts with the birth itself. This corruption no one is aware of. No one is thinking in those lines that this is a caste system which is corruption starting right from the birth itself. And if you don't tackle this problem and you want to tackle all other problems, how are you going to solve the problem? So the first thing to remove casteism is to become egoless. That is, you have to follow the teachings which make you egoless. If you are having some or other kind of ego, that means somewhere you are having the feeling that I am great. And that particular person or that particular society is lower than me. And once you develop this attitude of ego, it is not only just a matter of casteism. Even among the relatives, you start despising your other relative. For example, your another relative may be poor and you are a bit rich. Then you look down upon your relatives. You don't want to go to his home. You don't let him come to your home. If you are a little bit educated and your relative is uneducated, then you don't want to keep any contact with him. You don't want to see him. Even if he comes, you neglect him. Why? Why is this happening? Just simple reason, because you are becoming egoistic. The very qualification that is called in the world, whether it be education, wealth, power, status, position, these are all causing nothing but ego in the individual. You can see in your day-to-day life. So instead of directly fighting to remove casteism, the best way to remove casteism is to fight against this egoism. You remove the ego and the casteism will go on its own. Because the root cause of all negativities, according to teachings of the Buddha, is the ego itself. Casteism is one of the corruptions, but there are many other corruptions because of the ego. So here, even Dr. Ambedkar, when he was born, and we saw that he was suffering and his society was suffering. And what was the cause for that? He saw that, yes, my society and I am suffering. What is the cause for that? The casteism. And how to end this casteism? What is the way to get out of this? You have to end casteism. And how to end casteism? What is the way to give up this casteism? So the very first instant, if you see, he did not give up Hinduism as such, but he tried to be within Hinduism and revive Hinduism. That is why he went for this Mahat Satyagraha, Kalaram entry temple. So he wanted to stay within the Hindu system and revive it, but unfortunately he found that it was time consuming and also not giving the expected result. He thought in this way I'll be wasting whole life. So the best way he thought was, he was very much attracted by the teachings of the Buddha. And what are those? The teachings of the Buddha are very much close to the suffering of these downtrodden people. Because Buddha also speaks in a language which is appealing to them. And what is that? Buddha says, there is suffering. And Dr. Ambedkar also thought, yes, there is suffering to me and to my society. And then Buddha says, there is cause for suffering. And here, Baba Sahib also thought, yes, there is cause for suffering of our people. What is that? Casteism. Here, Buddha says, it is the tanaha, craving. And then Buddha says, there is cessation of suffering. The suffering can be ended. And then Dr. Ambedkar also, yes, we also want to end suffering. There should be end of suffering. And then Buddha says, there is a path leading to cessation of suffering. That is the Noble Eightfold Path. And then Ambedkar also got the clue, yes, there is a path leading to cessation of this casteism, that is to take up Buddhism. Because there is no point in fighting with the Hindus. They have their own scriptures and they have something to follow of their own. You cannot fight against them. Because even if you tell a Brahmin to change, he will say, we cannot change this system because these are written by the gods. So when something about casteism is written by the gods themselves, when the Brahmin has no authority, who are the downtrodden people to remove this from the scriptures? So the logical point is, you cannot remove it. So best thing is just get out of it. Don't make tussle with those people or fight with people. It is unnecessary wasting time. Because once the scriptures are written, that is the final authority. So if you like it, follow it. If you don't like it, leave it. But don't stay in that system and fight against that system. That is, you live in the caste system and then you want to fight against the caste system. It is, it is of no use. It is something like staying with a crocodile in the water and fighting against the crocodile.